So when we think about the 1960s, we might think about the mod era and the swinging 60s in London. So what was it really about? Really, it was about the end of classism. Becoming a celebrity was no longer for the posh elite. You know, people like Twiggy and the Beatles and people who perhaps did not have a super posh education were now in the limelight, and people wanted celebrities that looked like them. And in the United States, we had the civil rights movement. It was the beginning of the end of segregation. The world was changing, makeup was changing, hair was changing. Vidal Sassoon had come onto the scene and invented the 5-point haircut, which was based on principles of architecture because he was fascinated with architecture and geometry. And what that meant was you could shake out your hair and it would fall right back into place exactly the way that it had been originally styled, which was revolutionary. Before that, we had been doing roller sets, spending hours and hours in the salon. It influenced people like Mary Quant, who was a fashion designer who just made the skirt shorter and shorter, creating a new style called the mini skirt. Now, I am using mostly products that I own from my vintage collection from the 1960s and trying to find other products that are more modern that you can buy today that are sort of similar. So I'm going to start off by applying some primer, and I'm using the Double Duty Beauty by Tarte. This is called Base Tape. It smells like sunscreen or something. 1960s base was really matte, and I'm using the Amazonian Clay Full Coverage by Tarte. I'm applying it with my fingers because I watched a video where Twiggy was also applying it with her fingers right before a photo shoot. She was just applying her base just like this. No brushes or anything. And applying a little bit to the eyelids as a primer as well. So the 1960s brow was pretty neat and tidy. Not too thick, not too thin, just kind of following the natural contours of your brow. Edie Sedgwick really kind of went to town on her brows and filled them up nice and thick. And I think that's more my flow too. So I'm just gonna go ahead and give myself a slightly thicker brow. And then again, brushing them all the way back up. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to set this makeup with my Besame powder. This is in the color medium. I have a good base to start from. So I'm going to try to color match a shadow by Florey Roberts. Florey Roberts was a brand that was around in the 1960s and actually was one of the first brands to cater to people of color at major department stores after the civil rights movement. So I'm using the Smashbox primer in white. I'm using this just to get more true to tone color because I feel like if I just put it directly on my skin, it might be a little bit too translucent. And I'm blending upwards and outwards. So this was a huge moment in history because people were saying we're no longer going to be second-class citizens. We want the same rights, we want higher wages, and in turn we have buying power and influence over our world. Mainstream makeup lines like Maybelline and Avon started creating advertisements for people of color. So that was a really exciting time, and I think that only now we're starting to see true inclusivity and a wide range of colors for every skin tone and type. So I had a pretty hard time color matching this shadow, and I found a similar shade in an old palette of mine. These are all shades, I think, from NYX. So formulas were changing in the 1960s. We started to see eyeshadows with a little bit of shimmer in them, as well as a vinyl eyeliner, which was revolutionary, something that had never been seen before prior to the 1960s. So I'm not going to use the vinyl liner today. I'm actually going to use the Tartiest Liner Duo. And I'm going to start by using the pencil side. Looking straight ahead in my mirror, I'm just going to start to draw a line right above where where the crease of the eye is. Going all the way into the inner corner and then just following it along, just flicking outwards just slightly. This look was so immensely popular. I mean, it was made huge by Twiggy, Edie Sedgwick, is her name Jean Shrimpton? Jean Shrimpton, Patty Boyd, Goldie Hawn. I mean, the list goes on and on. Everybody wore their makeup like this. This was also the time of Biba. So if you guys are not familiar with Biba, Biba was a huge store in London where you could just find the most wild outfits and wild colors of makeup. And so if you got a bit of like your skin doesn't do so well with just dragging your pencil across, just hold it tight and then you can get a much cleaner application, or at least a cleaner blend. So of course, there's so many ways to do this look. If you guys took a look at the Twiggy eye duo, there's two shadows, or sorry, there's two liners. There's a white one and a black one, and you would just activate it with a little bit of water and you would be able to do your line this way. But I think that doing it with a pencil and smoking it out gives you way more control. Now, if you overshoot it, don't worry about it. You can just take a Q-tip and clean up the excess. So then the second part of this eye would have been a thick line. So I'm just going to start in the middle of the eye and kind of create the thickness that I want, thinner towards the inner corners, and just following the natural shape of my eye. So this part's really important. Don't extend it past your line. Don't flick it up like a cat eye. Just do the length of your eye and get the thickness right first. If you mess up, just get a Q-tip with a little bit of micellar water again. And I'm just gonna take a little brush, apply my primer again, and just pat in my shadow. So because I feel that the Edie Sedgwick look was my favorite version of this eye, I am going to extend the line downwards just about 1/4 of an inch and then flick out. So it's almost kind of like down and then out and not connected. Make sure you don't connect those two lines. With the liquid liner, I'm just going to draw a little line just underneath my lashes, not connecting with the outer corner, and ending it in like a little point. And then one might draw in some extra lashes. So I'm going to do that now just for fun. So a fun little tip that I learned, they would cut their lashes into 3 different pieces to be able to place the lashes exactly where you want them, or to extend the lash even a little bit further out. So I do one right in the inner corner, and then again in the middle, and then at the end. So in case you don't know, you can reuse lashes. The only thing that you need to do is just pick off the glue with your fingers at the end of the night, clean them off with a little bit of 99% alcohol or rubbing alcohol if you have some, and then just store them back in the box, and they're ready to use again the next day. So I'm also going to apply some to the outer edges here. So then I'm going to take this color called Rose Petal from the Makeup Designery, which is actually the makeup school that I went to. Blush wasn't huge in the 1960s. Mostly people would put on like a peachy or light pink color just onto the apples of the cheeks. I'm going to go ahead and, in true Edie style, I'm going to just darken up my little beauty mark here. So for the last step of this makeup, I'm going to use something similar to the 00 Orange from the House of Westmore. This is from my collection. This is from the 1960s. It's this beautiful, you know, pastel-y orange color. So I'm applying Portrait Peach by Besame, which is a little bit pinker than the Westmore Beauty lipstick. So another fun thing that I own from the 1960s, just to share, these were collectible dolls that were available from Revlon, where you could stick your tube of lipstick, and I actually have like a refill in here. This is original, but it's so stuck because it's so old. But these were just such a precious thing, and I just think they're so special. They're really rare and hard to come by. Yeah, they don't really make them like this anymore. This actually even has real mink cruelty-free followers. I'm also cruelty-free, but you know, this is also like 50 years old and a collector's item, and these kind of things just don't get made anymore. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys have questions or comments or ideas for the next video, please hit me up.